Hello students. Hello students. So today we're going to do the calculus method of solving calculus method. So we're going to do the calculus method of solving the equations of motion. Calculus method of solving the equations of motion. Okay. Already in ninth standard this has been taught how to get the equations of motion. Solving the equations of motion. What are the equations of motion? None other than, which is well known to us, already children know it in ninth standard, the equations of motion, three equations of motion, which are V is equal to U plus AP. The first equation of motion. The second equation of motion is S is equal to UT plus half AT square. And then the third equation of motion was V square minus U square is equals to 2as. These equations of motion have already been taught in ninth standard in the chapter motion. But coming to IIT JEE, that is 11th standard CBSE textbook, if you see CBSE NCERT textbook, there is an answer on it, which is called as derive the equations of motion using calculus method. What is calculus method? First of all, you should know what is this term called as calculus. So I'm going to explain that very clearly in detail. Calculus has two things. Two things. The first thing that calculus has is made up of is basically your differentiation. 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 Then we have integration. Differentiation, and the reverse of that is integration. Okay, we're going to understand these two things, then only we can understand what is calculus. Differentiation basically is nothing but a small change in the function fx. Small change in the function fx. How would a small change in the variable x affect a small change in the function fx? This is called as differentiation. And for that, we need to use certain formulae which we are going to derive in mathematics, but for physics, this is just like a tool for us. So we're going to use that now. How are we going to do that? There is a formula in differentiation like this. There are several formulas. So one of them which we are going to use to derive these equations of motion is this d by dx of x power n. The formula for that is what comes out is n x power n minus 1. That's it. And the reverse formula for this is you have to put this as integral sign x power n dx. When you write like this, what happens is the formula for this, how this has come, you're going to learn that in mathematics, but how to use that as a tool, you're going to learn that in physics. So x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. Of course, plus c, an integration constant is there. This is called as indefinite integration. But in physics, we have definite integrations because we have limits. We are going to start with, for example, we start with the initial velocity u, and finally we ended up with the final velocity v. Or we start with the time t is equal to 0 and end with time t is equal to some arbitrary time t dash is equal to probably some 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever, given the numerical. So we will always have limits for this. So what we will write here is upper limit and here lower limit. So then what happens, what's going to be the change is the same integral sign with an upper limit ul and a lower limit ll with the same x power n dx. Okay, So what happens is this constant of integration will not exist. Why? Because when you do this, what you're eventually going to get is x power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. But here is what the change is. You're going to put that upper limit and lower limit. When you put the lower limit, for example, let us take an example to lower limit and upper limit may be 3. Then what happens is that constant will anyway get subtracted. Why? Let us write it as plus c and check what happens. What happens is when you substitute the upper limit, what happens is 3 power n plus 1, 3 power n plus 1 as it is. You have to write it divided by whatever that n plus 1 plus c minus bracket open. What happens here? Lower limit 2 power n plus 1 divided by that n plus 1 plus c will exist as it is. What happens is when you open this minus bracket, what will you eventually get is the c and this c will get cancelled because of this negative. So what you will eventually get is finally this is what you will get. 3 power n plus 1. The whole denominator is same n plus 1 minus 2 power n plus 1. You will not get that c because that c will get cancelled. Now you can write that as c minus c, which will get cancelled. So this is your final result. Okay. I hope this is very clearly understood. Thank you.